Welcome to the Stanford Lee Show. This episode, it's no Paris, it's German Expressionism. I thought we'd like to talk about art this time, kind of how it ties in with music, and it's kind of a far stretch going from Paris all the way to Berlin to Germany, but that's where this story will take us. I remember the influence of a lot of the art that I was into, painting and drawing and trying to discover things. I think that probably the German Expressionists were my favorite at the time because, you know what, it was like, I guess it was all the energy and passion of the art. I think the French referred to it, their style as wild beasts, which is what influenced the Berlin art scene during the early 20th century. We see like a lot of great examples before World War I. And the art is stunning. It's very aesthetic too. It's not just an idea. It comes with the paint, getting your hands dirty, seeing life around you, and kind of internalizing that and pushing it out onto the canvas. And I think that's just really cool. Something that was unique at the time. But how about its influence? Well, I think that artistically, it's a precursor to the abstract expressionism that happened in the early 20th century. So I'm kind of getting carried away with art here. I want you to look at some pictures and enjoy this, but my journey was actually not just art, but with music, and a lot of it goes back to that time as well. If you think of I just saw this really cool opera. It was like an 80-piece orchestra that was reduced down to a 7-piece with 2 singers. And it was Bartók's Bluebeard's Castle. So it was incredible. I really got into listening to that period of music, which is also part of the Expressionist movement. Anyway, it's kind of all over the place. You see it in film, music, painting, literature. It was one of those things that really had a lot of impact, not just in one medium or, one expression. So that and so I'll cut to it. I really got into composing this piece. I was trying to discover new sounds, and I went into the scoring software and started out with something, really avant-garde and 20th century, and then it kind of mutated. When I used this motif when I was recording with all the guitars and drums, I was like wanting more dissonance. So I'm going to show you later what my solution for that was. But I mean, because you need dissonance, man. It's like it's art, and you gotta kind of throw some things at it and see what happens. So with this song, I was just taking things and kind of throwing things at it to see what would happen. But why am I bringing together Paris and Berlin? Well, because the wild fauves that I was talking about, all these great painters and expressionists, but also because of David freaking Bowie. Think about it. He had like 3 great albums. They call it the trilogy, that he did with Brian Eno in Berlin. And so, it's kind of like all my influences wrapped together. I was taking a little bit of this and that from, stuff that I'd learned and really enjoyed the Expressionists. And then finding that it kind of fits into, some of the more innovative sounds of music during the 70s, like really great. And Brian Eno worked with a lot of experimental sounds with synthesizers and just stuff that it made you hear things a different way. It's like his approach had a sophistication about it, and a passion for working with new technology and just a beautiful aesthetic. And I think it's great that art can shock and at the same time be aesthetic. It's like you just kind of want to roll around in it. You want to, embrace it, and it's part of life. It's not just an idea or a message or some kind of agitprop stuff. It's like it's really a part of the experience and kind of takes you from the inside outward and back in again, right? So I hope you got all fired up about art and music. Boo, like art and music is kind of scary, especially if it's labeled in any way classical or avant-garde or one of those things that you'd have to look up in a textbook. But don't be scared of it. I mean, just like it, dislike it, throw it around a little bit. Just have some fun with it. It's like it's there for us to experience and have our own opinion of, and kind of take into our lives. That's all it is. You don't have to be all in your head about it. And I try not to be. To this day, as much as I try to study things, it's like I try to get myself into it and relate it to life and experience. It shouldn't be dead. So I hope you enjoy, and I'm going to have some fun experimenting here. So you come experiment with me. All right, so this is my setup, and what I have here is, in my hand I've got a Green Bullet microphone by Shure. I'll be using this to pick up different areas of the steel tongue drum that you see below, as well as this running through a bass distortion pedal by Arian. And what I'm attempting to do is pick up overtones from the bell as well as overtones from the distortion in the pedal. And I can move my microphone around different parts of this drum and get different sounds. And they kind of mash together in a weird way. And that's the whole point, to be able to get all this noise and energy. I'm using it kind of like a theremin, I just move around, I feel like, and get different fields of sound. And here, let's take a listen to this. So I want to crank this up enough that I start getting feedback. Here, there we go. And I had a great time, everyone, and I'll see you next time on the Stanford Lee Show.